Hello everyone and welcome to Let's Play Stellaris, the Newbie tutorial series for version 2.7.2 of the game. I am your host, Colors Fade. It's episode 5. It is the year 2239. The galaxy's starting to take shape. We are here, the no mod hegemony. There are no mods in this playthrough. That way you newbies won't have to worry about finding mods that I might be using. But as we discussed in the very first episode, I do have some DLC installed. Alright, where we're at, there is a war declaration between the Lorongo Shipping Alliance and the United Jagalawa Stars, right next to these two people, next to each other, next to us also. Where our empire is, I'm going to turn things on the slightly faster speed here. So we have the basic strat craft and the hangar bay. Alright, that is wonderful. And now we can do Robo Modding, which is something I definitely want to do. It's 4,000 research points. There are some cheaper things on here like the ceramic metal armor. But I really want those robot modding points because I want to be able to show them to you in this episode how they work. So we would like to do that. So with any luck, we'll get to that. Let's see, we have 125 influence. And now we have Empire Sprawl is not an issue anymore. So we can go over here and we can say, hey, get these last two systems over here and fill that part of the world out. There's 5k alien vessels.
Research concluded.
More research concluded. Our naval capacity has been boosted up from 20 to 50 now. Thanks to that. There's some tile blockers. Administrative capacity in the administrative park. They said that was the upgrade. Planetary capital and Hall of Judgment. You can't do certain upgrades. You can't unlock certain things with building slots until you can produce a planetary capital. So we're definitely going to want that. But there's also some other things. Hydroponics Farm and Hydroponics Bay. These are not things that I typically use. Fleet Supremacy unlocks an edict that gives you we talked about this earlier. Fleet command limit 20. This allows us to build a lot more fleets. We get up to 70 with that, and we get fleet supremacy. They get some starting experience and stuff. What I'm going to do is get rid of hydroponics farms and hydroponics bays just to get it out of here and make it not be a choice anymore. It's 2,000, so 17 months it'll be over. So that's pretty good. Trappist colony going on over here. This is a world that I have designated to put research on. So as the building slots unlock and we get the basics down, we want to put research on here. And also because, well, that's a different planet I'm thinking of. But on our home world, it's going to be end up civilian industries and alloys. Well, eventually when we get research built on that other world, we'll take this research off of it and we'll build either an alloy foundry or a civilian factory. We're currently automatically selling some minerals and buying some alloys. I would like to buy more alloys than that. I'd like to buy about 10, but we would have to sell a little bit more per month to be able to do that. So we're going to try that out and see how that works. That might be taxing our empire just a little too much. But we got those hangar bays, and I wanted to go back to that and talk about this. This thing here offers trade route protection of 5, which means this thing over here still doesn't have enough trade route protection because the trade route protection from this one hangar bay only affects Wistral, Ramus, Dim, and Pell. It only goes in one direction. In order to get to a second system, to get to Ashamax, we need to upgrade this thing first. So that's what we're going to do. And we're also going to replace this with a hangar bay for 50 alloys. And then when it's upgraded, we'll add another hangar bay, and it will cover this spot here. And it'll also cover this because these are, the base protection will be more than what it is. Right now it's none. Because basically, well, it's got that right now, but it's not much. You can see it says trade route value is 13. Max piracy is -3. Piracy effects, current piracy minus 0.4. Base protection is 2. We want that protection number to go up. When you see white skulls, that's totally okay. It's when you see red skulls that are bad because then pirate ships are going to emerge. One thing we can do with this to stop these, to suppress this is we can take a ship and we can say patrol. And what we can do is order your ship to patrol. You click on this and then click on a destination. And what it's going to do is, and actually I don't need to even go that far. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to say there. So it's going to patrol between these three systems. And while a ship is in the system, it's going to knock piracy down. It's going to knock those piracy numbers down. We lost our genius. He died. It's a very sad thing. So now we have to go find somebody else. This person has research speed +5, survey speed +10, and anomaly research speed +15. He's got a long leader lifespan, or this person upkeep. I'm going to grab this research speed guy. Put him right there. Anomaly found. It's an easy anomaly, so I'll let them research it. The science ship is up here surveying this area, and there have been a fleet of alien vessels of 500 strength that have flitted around here. They've moved around a few times, so I'm expecting them to run into him at some point in time. Project concluded. So these two constructors are done with that. They're going to make those last 2 energy credit mining stations, and then they're going to be done with that. And the way our empire looks is everybody's friendly to us except for these fools up here. Okay, teaching of explorers, the ISS Tereshkova's crew is reporting that they found something spectacular on Mang 6A. On the surface lies traces of an explorative expedition of another civilization. Left behind are some well-preserved documents and artifacts. The proposed action by Chief Science Officer Shubham Patil is to send the text findings to our homeworld for translation. So send to our homeworld issues a special project, or you can send it to a private collector and just sell it for outright stuff. We're going to send it to Translated Explorer's Text. It becomes a thing here in our situation log. We're not going to worry about that right now. I don't want to do that. It's 46 months. Investigate the Gamma Aliens is 5 months, though, and I think I would like to do both of these, Alpha and Gamma Aliens, so let's get those out of the way. The reward is Influence or a special project. And we're still okay with buying these extra alloys. We're still in the plus on energy credits, so that's good. Construction project concluded. Okay, I want you to go build that. Survey completed. Through our surveys of habitable worlds, our biologists have collected a vast amount of data on alien life forms. Many of our older theories on the development of life forms have been disproved, and our scientific community has had to build new models from scratch. Our most interesting findings are being displayed at the newly dedicated Museum of Exobiology on Nomad. The public is enthralled, and many donations have come in to aid the continued search for strange life forms. So this finishes the quest up here, Habitable Worlds Survey. And we ends the Habitable World Survey event chain. We gain a bunch of society research and 500 energy credits. Yay. So over here, I would also like to upgrade this, because I would like to get this 8 trade up here eventually. And now we're in a position. Okay, so Crystalline Entities. These reports of strange free-floating crystal-like objects observed certain systems have been investigated. So we get issues of special project Crystalline Study. And Crystalline Study is 26 months. Okay, so I'm going to do Gamma Aliens next because it's only 3 months. 4 months it says now. And then we'll issue, and those special projects you can either usually do something to make attacking them easier, hunting them easier, or you can make them, typically you can make them friendly and then not have to worry about fighting them all the time. There's crystals up here, which is going to be great. Our EQ monopolist has 1 unemployed position. We don't want to make any of these districts because we have to just continue to keep filling this out for cities. Oh, and we have an unemployed person up here. Space amoebas. So this gives us the special project space amoeba study. So over here, we're going to add another mining district. Impassable mountains and toxic kelp. I think toxic kelp was... And this is a very interesting situation with the homeworld here. I really like being able to specialize my homework, but it takes so long because you have to be able to get those other planets.
Research concluded.
Hydroponics farm and hydroponics bay. So now we got these tile blockers. Dense jungle. Admin capacity is plus 5%. That's going to be really useful. We're going to want that. I'm going to grab these I'm going to start grabbing blockers because I want to get them out of the way, especially because over here on the Ecumenopolis we have 4 tile blockers we're going to have to clear. We have to get these all done out of the way so we can continue to prep that. It's going to be a long way down the road before we can do that. This technology has to unlock, and then you have to get this perk, the Archaeology Project, which means we're going to have to finish at least one more of these diplomacy or discovery first before we can unlock that perk. And what I really need to do is get this, an autochthon monument on each one of our planets here. So, pop growth. The faster we grow, the faster we get free building slots, the faster we can actually make new jobs. Alright, full spectrum alchemy. Next phase of our experimental production facility has come online. The Blue Lotus Crystalline Transmutation Facility is now busy converting unprecedented amounts of base material into useful alloys. 2 transmuter jobs now on that planet instead of 1. Keep a close watch on it. A glorious breakthrough. Okay, I don't think there's a difference there. Keep a close watch on it. We're going to do that and see what happens. Alright, one of these just changed over. So here we do this. Hangar bay. It's going to replace that one with a hangar bay. It's going to add a second hangar bay in. And then, let's see. We don't need anything else from there. So what we can do at that point in time is we can either put anchorage on here, which helps give us more naval capacity. Or when the... let's see. Well, yeah, that'd be the best thing. Or we can add a third hangar bay, which I might do. And then hydroponics bays show up. Okay. I'm going to pause the game. Hydroponics bays are a good thing on these star bases out here that are basically for trade protection. That's all they exist for, is trade hubs and trade protection with hangars. The buildings that you can put on them, the things I like to put on them are like resource silos and hydroponics bays. On other star bases, you're going to want to put different things on it. It depends on whether you want to make it a choke point or whether you want to make it a star base that's designed for building ships. In this case, a hydroponics bay is going to add some food to our empire. So I'm going to add that. And you can only build one of each of these buildings on here. And our science ship, this is what I wanted to see. Okay, so here are these 560 critters. And it's close enough now we can see the ship details and see what this is doing. These things are using the small amoeba weapon, which does 25% to armor damage and plus 33 to hull damage. So it doesn't do bonus damage to shields, and they don't have any shields themselves, and they only have armor and hull. So we're going to hope that our science ship can get the heck out of there. And it looks like he's going to evacuate. And so what we need to do is we need to take our shipyard here. We need to return these guys. Well, first, here's what we're going to do. So we're going to take and create a new design. And it's going to be just the red laser, because the red laser does bonus to armor. And then we need shields, because their weapons aren't good against shields. No, and we're going to save this as Corvette. Is that how you spell amoeba? I'm not sure. That doesn't... I think that's the correct spelling. I'm going to save it as this. Don't kill me if I spelled this wrong. I'm really bad at spelling things. There's no red squiggly under here to tell me it's wrong. Oh, it's not I can tell you that. Amoeba. Okay, I think that's it. So this ship is designed specifically to kill the amoebas. All right. So what we're going to do is go over here to our fleet. We're going to press the fleet manager, which is, let's see. Where's my fleet manager? Right there. And this tells you what fleets are in, what ships are in this fleet. And what we're going to do is we're going to retrofit this and say we want the amoeba fleet in here. And same thing with this on the default class. We want the amoeba fleet in here. So now it says 12 of 12. So now what we can do is say retrofit, swap. We can say upgrade the fleet. And it'll cost, we'll actually get a surplus of alloys back. Say upgrade the fleet. It's going to go to the nearest starbase. It's going to come down here. And it's going to retrofit those ships so that they can destroy those amoebas. And at the same time, I'm actually going to build a few more of these amoeba hunters. That way, we'll have a little bigger of a fleet. And then we'll take this fleet up here and we'll kill these guys finally. And then our science ship will be safe. Ruler gained a trait, military pioneer trait. So she gets, you can see this, military pioneer ship upgrade cost. That's very nice. That works for us right now. Ship build cost minus 10%. Perfect. And she has the monthly influence, which is the reason we really, really like her. So now you can see food is at a 0. It's actually at a negative. It's minus 0.4 per month. And we're getting minus 0.44 for consumer goods. Trappist has a building slot open. And the smartest thing to do, again, for growth is the very first thing to do is go build those robot assembly plants. And since this first slot is open, again, the colony designation is gone. It's no longer an option. We're going to choose mining because that's what we're focusing this planet on. And then we'll wait for all of these ships to get created. We only have the one shipyard over here. And what we need to do is, I thought we expanded this. Oh, no, it's got 78 days until it's expanded. And then we can add additional shipyards here. I usually make my home system my big shipyard system, at least for a while. And since we have 9,000 food in the bank and 2.8k consumer goods, I'm not worried about addressing this situation just yet. Tree of Life Protectors. So the Tree of Life Protectors we can see also share the same kind of design. They are exactly like those other amoebas are. They also have amoeba flagella, which is a hangar bay. It's like a small strike craft. And they have regenerative hull tissue. They don't have any shields. They have all armor and all hull. So the ships we're building right now can also take on these Tree of Life goons down here. The EQ Monopolist says, hey, I have another building left and I don't have a job for it. And we say, well, what is the person who's unemployed? It's a robot, first of all. So we're going to resettle that person. But the next thing I want to build on here is an autochthon monument. Now, I'm going to resettle. Actually, I can't resettle that robot because the robot creates the 10th population in there, which unlocks the slot. And I very much want to build this autochthon monument for, which is going to take some of our people. We have 6 clerks. It's going to pull 2 clerks up to work that job. The robot still can't work that job because it doesn't have that tech yet. And so, and it's okay. It's totally okay with this.
Project concluded.
I'm okay with that situation the way it is. Now, this guy I'm going to disband. Lotus eats itself. A catastrophic failure has occurred on the experimental facility on TRAPPIST 5. Operatives say that we never know what specifically caused the failure in containment, but the result was a runaway transmutation of the equipment, its housing, and a vast chunk of the surrounding landscape, all into the same superconductive alloy. A rich seam of this material is all that remains. We gain 1 max mining district, and it produces 2 alloys. So our transmuter jobs went away, and now we're doing this. Oh, that's funny. So now if you go look on special things, it says we have this, the Blue Lotus Crater. Max mining districts +1. The translucer jobs are gone. And it produces 2 alloys. Well, very nice. So that's good for it. Sort of. All right, how are we doing over here? Okay, so let's build another shipyard. 178 days.
Construction project
It's still
completed.
building 3 more of those ships. And I'm actually going to tell it to build
Research concluded.
another shipyard right here. I want both of those. Then
Evading hostiles.
it can build 3 ships at a time. Robot modification is ready to go. This is what I really wanted to show this episode. Ooh. Defensive platform hull hit points for 500. For 5,000 for research. This is a rare technology because it's purple and it says rare technology in it. This makes your defensive platforms much more hardy. I want this, so I'm going to get it. And it matches her Voidcraft specialty, so she'll be able to crank that out pretty quick. But here we go. Species points. Now, robot modification. You can also do this with organic species if you unlock the Ascension perks over here. So there are 3 Ascension Paths, and I talked about these early on in one of the first 2 episodes. You can either go down Engineered Evolution, and this gives you gene modification points. And you can, in fact, get more gene modification points in the second part of that branch. There's 3 branches: Engineered Evolution, Synthetics, or Psionics. They all offer different bonuses, and again, I strongly recommend you just go out to the wiki and look this stuff up. Aspec, I think, has a video on these 3 paths. You can also go look at his video, and if people beg me enough, I might make one. I've had people say, why don't you do a video on that? Well, Aspec already has a video. I think it's okay. I might be able to do a better job, but I don't think it's a necessity, because if you go to the wiki, you can have these questions answered in 5 minutes. There's 3 paths. But anyway, in the Flesh is Weak and Synthetic Evolution, these are the synthetic part of the path. So Engineered Evolution and Evolutionary Mastery, these are for organics. You end up with 6 gene modification points over the cost of these, and you can allow you to really tailor your species. And by gene modification, what I mean is you get to go right in here and do this species. We're going to do it with the robot, but you can do it with your species. You go in here and you say create template, and you can start adding traits or removing negative traits. You can do that to your organic species if you go down the evolutionary route. If you go down the synthetic route, different things happen, and you eventually are able to put your brains into robots, which give you really super long lives and different traits. But we're going to do this with the robots. So here's what I like to do. Now we have some robot modification points. We have 2. These things down here cost different things. They have different costs. Some of them cost 1, some of them cost 2, some of them cost 3. So for instance, you can say, I want you to have robot upkeep minus 10% and pop housing usage minus 10%. That gives you kind of a generic robot that's a little cheaper to maintain and doesn't require as much housing. That's fine. That's a decent robot to have, actually. Empire Sprawl from Pops, minus 10%. That's another. Pop Assembly Cost, minus 20%. So there's Pop Assembly Speed. If you want them to grow faster, this is a great thing to do. In fact, I like that a lot. And with pop housing usage, I might do robot upkeep. I'm just going to call this... I'm going to call this a... I call these fast robots because they can be built fast. So I'm going to create that template. But now these don't exist on our world. We only have 10 robots in our whole entire... I'm going to create a couple more templates. Power drills, cost 2. This becomes miner robot. This robot is going to be really good at mining because its minerals from its jobs are 15%. That's why I like to specialize my planets to one district type, because then you can take on that planet and just put those kinds of robots on there and they get a bonus. Same thing we can do. Okay, now I screwed that up because I created that template and then I named it, but I didn't save it. So you go miner robot, you say okay, and you say create that template. Now you go up here and create this other one. Create template, and you do food. And you say farmer robot. You create that and you create that template. So on planets where you're focused on farming, you can use the farmer robot. We have a bunch of robots in our empire, and we can go in here and we can say take this miner robot. We want our robots to be miners on the planets that they have mining. So we say we're going to apply this template. Well, the one place where we know for sure that we have robots that are designed for mining is on this planet where I put the M in front. I said that's why I use these designators, because in these screens you can't tell. So on this planet we know, on Uthan, its districts are focused on mining and its buildings are focused on bureaucracy. So I'm going to say I want all 5 of these robots on this planet to be robot miners. It's going to take 2,000 engineering points. If I apply this template, it's going to take 23 months. Later in the game, this will take like 2 months to do 4 times as many as that. To do hundreds of populations. First fleet has been fully upgraded. Okay, so now the fleet is fully upgraded. We're going to have merge these fleets together. It's 767 is our power, and they're designed to kill these bozos. So we're going to send them right up there. And they're going to go do that. And that science ship is going to sit there for a second while we head on up there. And so the second thing you do is on this planet, it's a spitting out population, and it's saying it's assembling robots. Now, it's going to assemble any species of robot. So if we've created all these robots, it'll just pick one at random and start creating it. But what we can do, since the whole planet is focused on making just mining districts, we can say, make these robot miners. Now, as you can see, when you prioritize this, it dings the speed a little bit. And what does it say up here? Yeah, doing this will cost us 10% of our current assembly process. But in my opinion, it's better to specify on a planet like this than to let it just create robots willy-nilly and you then have to relocate them around with the resettle button and get them to the right planets. It's better to just do this. So now on this planet alone, we're going to take a 10% hit, but this planet from now on is just going to produce miner robots for its mining districts, which would be wonderful. They're all going to have a nice little 15% bonus. In the meantime, our fleet is headed into danger. We're going to wander up here and we're going to take care of these guys. The bozos. And the other thing I'm going to do is right here, I'm going to take this and upgrade it from an outpost to a starbase. Okay, tile blockers, reverse engineer minor artifacts. Various artifacts and technologies functioning by arcane means that cannot be understood or replicated. At least this looks really interesting. I'm not sure I've seen that before. So what I'm going to do is take it. See what happens. Up here it said, leader died, envoy. So what happens is when your envoys die, they auto-magically get replaced with new ones. So we communicate and say, improve relations. You can see they got a new envoy here. You can't move an envoy for 300 days. And so that means this person is new. Jason Kowalski. He's new. He just got the job because the guy before him died. The other two can be moved. So that's form a non-aggression pact. They'll take it because it's a green check mark. But it'll cost us... Oh. It will increase their trust. This is against who? Obadin. Oh, we don't have a non-aggression pact with them? Well, what if we... It will cost us 0.12 each month. But it'll make them friendlier toward us. I'm okay with that. These guys, though... Oh, yeah, they're up there by themselves. They got 2 planets and they're pathetic. I'm not worried about them. Okay, on our capital, we have one unemployed person. It's a no-mod worker. And I think the thing to do here is build another city district. And they accepted that agreement. So that's great. And we get to unlock another one. Alright, we can either have leader experience gains, empire trade value increased by 10%, or survey speed, which I don't really care. The reason to do that is to go below. Take research station output. what do I want? Base trade protection for routes and market fee. I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna finish this diplomacy out first, and then we'll finish discovery. So, and that technology just got done, and so now we have all these tile blockers that we can remove. That you can see they cost 300 energy credits each.
Receiving transmission.
So we're gonna do that. Put that in the queue. So we get another migration treaty from these folks. This is offer a migration treaty. Take a look at them. What I really want, they're molluscoids and they are desert worlds. Oh, fun. Okay, so if I go up here and I agree to this, now they have a migration treaty, which means if we run into desert worlds like this over here, look. So this planet's a desert. We can't colonize it with our people, but it's green to these guys. So we could colonize it with them now because we have this immigration treaty, and they're 90%. They have some bad traits, governing ethics, attraction, and pop housing usage. But they also have some good ones. Amenities from jobs, habitability plus 10%, and they like desert. So this world suddenly becomes a really good option for them. It's a small planet, it's 14, but it has a bunch of energy districts, a bunch of generator districts. So we can colonize it with these guys, and what's going to happen is they're pretty much going to be the only people who are going to be grown on this planet. Which would be advantageous, and that gives us another planet in our empire.
Hostile engagement protocol.
Okay, we can go down here and see what's happening down here with these guys. Alright.
Quantization complete. Opening comms.
While that's ongoing, offer migration treaty, and these guys are Savannah worlds. Wow. Okay, well, I agree. And we did good.
Project concluded.
So we can see fleet combat status. We lost 3 corvettes. They lost the Space Amoeba and the Space Amoeba Mother. So we tell our guys, hey, go back. Get healed up. Alien Specimen Procurement. The director of the Museum of Exobiology on Nomad has issued a request for the procurement of several live alien specimens. These creatures were spotted on surveyed habitable worlds, but they were difficult to capture. It will require the full resources of a science ship for a lengthy period of time. We will gather these specimens. Begins the Alien Specimen Procurement event chain. Alright. So now, what we have here is there's some space debris over there, and then there's something over here. What is this? I'm going to do space debris here. What is going on? Oh, there's no leader here. You lost your leader because he died. Oh, because he got pulled up to become an envoy. I see. Leader lifespan, because that allows him to reach a higher level. So he can research project in that system, and then he can research projects in that system, and then you can survey it. Actually, what I'm going to do, let's do that. Alrighty. So now we're going to get one more new planet in our empire, thanks to a migration treaty, which is going to give us some people who are good on desert worlds, which is fantastic. Alright, so what else do we have? There's research that project in that system. Actually, why don't you do this first? Do research that project, and then that project, and then maybe by the time you've got those done, we'll have enough of a fleet to go down here and take on these punks. So I'm going to, let's see, this building here.
Receiving transmission.
The things I want to build don't exist yet, so I'm not going to worry about them. Research proposal with these guys, if we agree to it, we're going to. Trappist says, hey, I have spots. You got to give me buildings. And it's like, yes, we do. Let's give you some robot assembly plants, and that'll take care of these 2 people who are unemployed, no mods.
Construction project concluded.
In addition, we'll start building the next mining district after that. The EQ Monopolist has an unemployed robot. Oh, and we can move that robot now because now we have 11 population. So now that we have 11 people, we can move that one robot. to a planet that has robots on it, that needs robots. And that frees up another slot on this planet because that pushed them up to 20. New contact. Okay, hold on. Let's do this then. First contact with the Synthoid Matrix. They are determined exterminators. Well, that sucks. Let's find out where they are. They're up there.
Research
Synthoid
concluded.
Matrix. Okay, determined exterminators just want to kill you. Exactly like their name says. There's nothing you can do about it. And their power is overwhelming and their fleet power is overwhelming. So that's a very bad thing for us to be in. That situation. We're going to want to handle that. Research station output plus 10%. So one of the things we're going to want to do with that is get down here and probably choke point right there. We're going to want to build a big, huge space station with a lot of defensive platforms, and we're going to want to put ships there, and we're going to want to choke those guys off from trying to come in here and get us. We're also going to hope that because they're determined exterminators, everybody else also wants to go to war with them. In fact, that would be a very good thing. So back here to Uthan, these guys have produced this. What they don't have yet is they're a little low on amenities. So what I'd like to build is an autochthon monument, but if we build them commercial zones right now, they'll generate more trade and they'll generate some amenities. So I'm going to do that. And since we built this up here, this one, we're going to upgrade that. First thing we're going to do is build...
Special project concluded.
We need to upgrade it first. I'm going to build 2 hangar bays on it. And then we'll build 2 trade hubs on it when the next part of it is upgraded. And then it'll start collecting trade from Trappist and Saturus. And it'll move them through here.
Special project concluded.
So our robot miners got upgraded on that planet. They got upgraded from robots, straight old boring generic robots to robot miners. One thing I like to do with my trade routes is make sure that every single starbase will try to just go straight for the homeworld. It'll draw itself all the way to the homeworld. What I like to do, we gained a bunch of research off of this from analyzing that debris of the space wreckage right there from that battle we were in. You always want to have science ships available to go analyze the wreckage after a battle because it gives you all kinds of research and it gives you progress on research for things that you haven't finished yet. But back to trade routes. This hub is going all the way to the homeworld, and this hub is also going all the way to the homeworld. What you really want to do is chain these things together. So you left click on this and you right click on the thing it goes to, and then in this case I left click on it and it right clicks. It's already going to the homeworld, so it's fine. So you can click on this and see this, and you can see what these routes look like over here. And that's the way you want to set up your routes. That way, if one piece of the chain breaks, you'll know about it. It'll be correct and it's easy to fix. Blah 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 blah. It's the proper way to set it up. Otherwise, this thing's going to get piracy all the way because the route's so long. And anyway, it's going to... Over here on this planet, we have unlocked yet another slot, and we're starting to get really low in consumer goods. So it makes sense that what we would want to do here is civilian industries. In fact, I'm going to move that up 1 slot so we can get that built. Alright, where's this construction ship? It's down there. I think what it needs to do is come all the way up here and build that. So subject to integration began the Obadan Sacrosanct Assembly and the Galactic Deathicon Compact started to integrate the Galactic Deathicons. So the Galactic Deathicons up here who didn't like us, who have this little tiny thing up here, they got subjugated, they got defeated in a war by the Obadan Sacrosanct Assembly, and now they're going to spend 10 years integrating them, and when they're done, this space will be Obadan Sacrosanct Assembly, and this planet will belong to them, and those people will be integrated into their society. So that's what that's for, and that's called vassalization, basically, and then integration. It's 2 parts. Vassalization is the war, and if you win, they become your vassal. And then integrating them is when their land becomes yours, and it all becomes part of your empire. And you need to have empire sprawl ready for that influx of new territory and planets and populations and districts, etc. Vassalization is one of the really good ways to take over a much bigger empire. If you're going to fight something small, and if we were going to fight these guys, I would use a claims war instead. And on a small one like this, and I would just go in here and I would claim, you need influence to do this, you claim a system, and then you come in here and you fight a war, and after the war exhaustion reaches a level that causes them to finally surrender to you, then you get your claims. You get any systems that you claimed. And that's part of the war tutorial I made a long time ago. This is really nice. These guys are coming down here. I'd like to see them kind of come cut that off, but I want these guys to cut off the determinate exterminators so that we don't have to worry about them. But we're not quite there yet. And you can see with me playing this species that I'm very focused on population growth and expansion and immigration treaties so that I can get more species into... Species is not on an F key. So I get more species in my empire so that when I go to colonize a planet, I have all these different species to choose from. These guys aren't showing up yet because we're not growing any of them on any of our planets. But as soon as we start to, and they become part of our empire, they'll show up here.
Construction project concluded.
And you saw them when I went to colonize that planet, that all of those species we had immigration treaties with showed up. And that's my focus. But that puts us, my point being is that focus on population growth and immigration and spreading out here and really pushing our empire sprawl to the max has made us weak to a lot of enemies. They're considered, their fleet power is overwhelming, their fleet power is overwhelming, their fleet power is overwhelming. We're behind on the military aspect of the game. You can always
initial colonization
tailor yourself. You can always build yourself a species at the beginning of the game that is very focused on military, and you can make sure that you are ahead in all of this stuff early on instead of worrying about things like population growth. And but I feel like this is still the stronger way to play the game, because when we finally do get caught up, we're going to have the population growth and the research to kick everybody's butts. At least that's the hope. So over here in Starbases, that one's growing its stuff. That one's not doing anything. This right here, we're going to grab one more hangar bay here. And so that's going to have hangar protection from here and all the way out to Stellaris, which will be nice. And these trade protections will overlap. So over here, since there's going to be hangar base here, like at this system at Ramos, when this is done, there will be trade protection here from this space station and from this space station. It's going to get double the trade protection, which is good, because after a while you're going to end up with very big numbers floating through. Okay, so what are you doing? You have no orders. Well, what I want you to do is I want you to go fleet stance passive, and I want you to survey that system because I think those guys are gone. And over here, I want you to build that and get us that world. Commercial pact invitation for somebody else. This is an Arid World, so we could colonize it with one of our other neighbor species that we have an immigration treaty with. These guys are over here doing nothing. They can't go down here because we can't defeat those guys yet. So what we're going to say is come down here. Oh, another ship's already performing that action. That guy is. Okay. Well, in that case, Trappist isn't doing anything yet. There's no research on that planet yet, but I'm going to park him over there and tell him to assist with research.
Concluded.
The Ecomonopolist says, I got one unemployed pop and it is a robot. Issue special project to investigate the Pi aliens. I'm going to resettle this one robot to somewhere that has mining. Trappist, the research world, this also has mining. So what I'm going to do is adjust this so that I know there are miners go on this planet. It has one unemployed pop who is a specialist, so he can't do any of these open mining jobs. If we have them, if we want to look, we have an open clerk job and 2 open mining jobs. A specialist, which is up here, can't take this job down here. This is what's called lowering to a lower stratum. And in fact, there is a policy up here in Harmony. The time it takes for unemployed pops to demote to a lower stratum is reduced by 50%. It takes a very long time, basically, for this person to demote, this unemployed specialist, to demote itself all the way down to the next stratum. In fact, you can see its job is unemployed as a transmuter, because remember, this planet had those transmuter jobs, and then the thing blew up, and then they didn't have those jobs anymore. So what he's doing is he has no job because he has no specialist job. It's going to take him 526 days to demote to a worker. That's how long he's going to sit around and collect unemployment until he decides, okay, I better just take a call center tech job because my unemployment runs out. So he'll become a regular worker and he'll work this mining job down here. We can solve that problem by moving enough people here to bump us up to 10 population and unlock this next slot, and then put a building down that requires a specialist, and then he'll get a job. That may happen before his 567 days are up. What do we have for population over here? We have almost all these clerk jobs are taken. I could move 2 people from here, and it wouldn't affect that slot. And I could move 3 people from here. So I could show you how this is going to work. We can move them to Trappist 5. So if I want to resettle 2 people to Trappist 5, let's see, who would I move? I could move a robotic miner, a miner robot. And then I could move a nomad who is also a miner. So if I do that, and then I switch this to Uthen, which should allow me to move 3 people. Yes. So if I resettle 3 people from Uthen to Trappist, same kind of thing. Move 3 minor robots. 1, 2, 3. And now what that does is it unlocks this last slot. And I can go in here and I can say, give me an Autochthon monument. And it's going to create a job for this specialist over here. And then I've got 2 other unemployed people because I don't have enough jobs. So I'm going to build mining district, and then I'm going to upgrade that building there. Now we have research, reverse engineer minor artifacts. Not exactly sure what that's going to do yet. So regenerative hull tissue and amoeba flagella are we got some research points in them. You can see 1,000 out of 10,000 and 600 out of 6,000. When we sent that science ship over here to research the debris from the fight, this is what we got out of it. We got some research towards these 2 technologies, and they will stay there. You don't have to select these. They'll always stay there. It says this technology will remain as a valid option until it is researched. So that's the benefit of that. In the meantime, what I probably want to do is more tile blockers, and the Fleet Academy and Naval Logistics. Actually, I want that. This is a gene clinic. Let me talk about this briefly, because this on the surface sounds like a really good idea. Medical workers turn consumer goods into amenities and pop growth speed. Jobs-based production, 10 amenities, and 10% for pop growth speed. On the surface, this sounds actually good, and it sounds like something that you want to build right away on every single planet, just like you do with robots. But what I've not run the numbers myself. Aspec, who is also one of the premier YouTube Stellaris people, and I'm certainly not going to disparage him, even though people might think we're in competition. We're not. I think all of us creating content for this game should be on the same team, basically. So I want to pump up Aspect right here and say he has said that this is a really bad investment, and that it takes decades for basically this to pan out as far as a cost investment. I'm just going to trust his word. I haven't done the math myself. I'm going to believe him, and so I'm not excited about getting the gene therapy. I'd rather get tile blockers or this Fleet Academy and Naval Logistics Office. So I want those, so I'm going to research those. Now, food is finally taking a beating, which we expected to have happen, and we're starting to creep up on empire sprawl. So we want to be aware of that. And that's because we're over here doing this stuff where we're saying, oh yeah, let's grab all these worlds. And this planet right here is an arid world. And again, this is another world that would have made an ideal ecumenopolis, because it has a ton of buildings and it doesn't have a ton of city districts, and it doesn't have a lot of other districts. But that also means it'll either be really good for research. It'll be an ideal research world if we wanted to, or something else. I'm going to colonize it. These guys are 70%, the Jogalawa, and everybody else kind of sucks. So we're going to do that, and it's Mang 2. So we're going to do that. This is all going to push us very close to the Empire Sprawl. So on our world, where we're dealing with that, on Uthan, we very much want to unlock another building slot here and get another administrative office up there as quickly as possible. Communication is established with the Lorongo cartel. So this is just another species. Lorongo cartel, they're way over here. So fantastic for them. Trappist is finally getting some trade up there. So back to here. We got the 2 hangar bays, and now we say trade hubs. And in fact, because food is going to be an issue on all these trade ones like this, I'm going to put Hydroponics Bays. So we can see this. Once those trade hubs, the first trade hub is going to collect this trade from here, and the second trade hub is going to collect trade from Trappist. And it's going to funnel it all back here toward the home world. Hostile fleets present. Right there. Alright, receiving commercial pact invitation. Okay, I'm going to say yes. Who died? Scientist died. Harold Glass on the ship. So we can either grab more Voidcraft people or this person, which is archaeological excavation feat. I'm going to grab the Voidcraft person and let her start getting some experience.
Research concluded.
So is this whole thing surveyed? It looks like it. I'm going to have her survey up there, and then over here. Research station output. You can see this is repeatable. We can just keep getting that. But what we really need are some other things now. And what we're going to need chemical plants for sure. We're also going to need these faster than light inhibitors. So I'm going to grab the faster than light inhibitors first. Faster than light inhibitors are a nice little technology that automatically show up on your space stations. And what they do is they prevent enemy ships from flying right in here. If you have a starbase up here that has a faster than light inhibitor, they can't fly beyond that system with the faster than light inhibitor and come further into your system unless they defeat the starbase in that system. So if you have a powerful starbase and a lot of ships protecting it, the faster than light inhibitor keeps them from just flying right on past your fleets and going in. It keeps them from racing for the flag, basically. There's an archaeological site there, and there's a Relic World. Ooh, okay. Relic World. Relic Worlds are special. We're going to like that. Your job, let's see. Well, we need to grab that. No matter what I think about sprawl, we have to grab that, because at the minimum, that's going to be our choke point. Preferably, our choke point is going to be up here in the unknown or down here in this system. I want to choke this off somewhere, though, and there's a bunch of great planets in here. So this is fantastic for us. We lose another scientist. We lose the person up here who had 5% research speed. So now we're going to see if we can find someone that'll help out. Leader experience gain. If you can't get anybody with really good bonuses, leader experience gain, in my opinion, is the thing to get. So, because leader experience gain or leader experience lifespan, because then they're either going to live longer and be able to potentially reach their maximum bonuses, or their leader experience gain, they'll be able to get there faster to their maximum bonuses. We don't have a lot of planets in our empire yet, and already you can see I'm having to scroll a lot. There is a mod that I use in all my other videos, you'll see, and it makes this outliner more narrow. It's called Tiny Outliner. You should definitely use it. Just get it and install it. It's a graphical visual mod. It does not affect Iron Man mode, and so therefore it doesn't affect your Steam achievements. you should definitely get it. I didn't install it during this playthrough because, again, our species is named no mod. I wanted to play with 0 mods so you could all see what the base game with the DLC looked like and get comfortable with that before we start worrying about mods. But I totally recommend you get Tiny Outlier. We have another faction down here. We have and some of our existing factions have more demands, more issues. So this one, the Alien Suffrage Society, now they want us to be in a federation, which we're not. Enclaves Incorporated. Keeping any enclave stations within our borders facilitates cultural exchange, which will please the Alien Suffrage Society. When they're talking about enclaves, I think they're talking about things like this, the Artisan Troop. The Artisan Troop, I don't actually know where they're at, but they're over here somewhere in the galaxy. They're somewhere. They're just not in our system. And wherever they are located, if they're inside your borders, that makes that faction a little bit happier. Up here, there's nothing we can do about that. This one, no immigration. Signing any migration treaties will displease them. Well, too bad. Asserting dominance. Declaring war against one or more Xeno empires will play them. Well, we'll get a chance to do that. Giant massacre. Putting any of the gargantuan Leviathan Xenos out of their misery will please the nomad. The Leviathans is a DLC. I have it. I didn't install it for this particular playthrough. I didn't checkmark it and turn it on. But there is the Leviathans DLC. It's a smaller DLC. It's not a big one like Utopia or Federations. And it creates these floating Leviathans through space that can give you quite the little ship challenge. This one down here, anti-autocratic. Well, that's never going to happen because we're autocratic by nature. Free movement. That's not going to happen because we manually resettle our pops around. Reproductive freedoms. See, these anti-stratification. This is not going to happen. So these people are never going to get what they want from me. They're a faction that's, and like I said in one of the very first episodes, I am not going to go in here and spend the influence, this ridiculous monthly influence of -1, to suppress them, because I've not seen, in my experience playing the game, I've not seen it make any kind of an effect. This has 13 populations supporting it right now, and it has 17% support. If I suppress that faction and come back and check on it in 10 years, it's basically going to stay that way, whether I suppress it or not. So this is why I don't waste the influence doing it. If Paradox ever gets around to fixing that part of the game, it'd be great, but I'm not going to hold my breath for sure. Alright, this science ship is not doing anything, and I have enough science ships already. I'm just going to disband this one for now, because there's like the Leif Erikson over here, which is doing nothing, and I'm going to have her assist.
Research concluded.
Defensive platform, whole hit points. It's very nice. Crystal mines and exploit resource. I definitely want that right now. Out of the 3 secondary resources, voltomotes, exotic gases, and rare crystals, crystals are the ones you will use the most. Paradox has tried to keep the game fairly balanced, such that motes, gases, and crystals are more or less equally necessary across the board. But in the last couple of tweaks they've made to the game, crystals have overtaken everything, and you will use more crystals for upgrades than you will use anything else. So getting that early and often would be fantastic. Alright, so let's see. Defensive Pact Invitation. I'm going to decline because that's gotten me in trouble. It's the Jawalas. It's these guys over here. And I just don't think a defensive pact is a good idea for us unless we were super strong and we wanted to use it as an excuse for going to war. In edicts, I'm going to go back to education campaign and turn that back on. Recycling campaign and turn that back on. Volatile land clearance. This reduces clear blocker cost and time. We're not going to use that. Volatile ammunition, volatile explosives, and volatile reactive. These are the first of the edicts that help affect war. So anytime you're about to go to war, you want to run over to edicts and you want to turn these on. And that's why you want these secondary resources, so you can spend them and help yourself be more awesome during war. Alright. This is the end of this episode is what I'm going to do. This is as good a place to stop as any. We got a new tradition. We can fire that up next episode. So folks, As always, thanks for watching, newbies. I hope you are learning and gaining a lot of information out of these, and it's getting you excited to play Stellaris. A lot of people I know play along with my Let's Plays, especially my Newbie tutorial series, so I hope you're playing and having a good time. As always, if you dig the episode, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you have a question or comment, drop it down below. Try to use timestamp if you can, please. And if you want to support my channel, my Patreon's listed in the description below. I don't have any kind of Patreon tiers yet. It's not that special. I'm just saying maybe for the price of a cup of coffee once per month, you can afford to throw $5 my way. It really helps my channel. It's helped me get some new technology, better speakers, things like that, better microphones. So thanks for all that. Thank you to my current Patreon supporters. You guys have been fabulous. And as always, I love you. I will see you all next time. Let's play Stellaris.